I'd say with 10 to go, just block that water temperature gauge
Don't even
out.
look. Forget the gauges. Run it till it blows.
A record-setting Daytona 500 in a number of categories. And I don't think we've seen the last lead change. 69 so far. 9 times the 500 has been decided by a last lap pass.
And you know, normally a driver would be saying, leave me alone. Don't talk to me anymore. I got to concentrate. You can't do that here today. That spotter has got to stay in your ear.
Clint Boyer in 33, Kyle Busch in 18. They keep trying to look to the outside. They keep testing the waters out there.
Now with 10 laps to go, look at the red car, Stewart. Have he and Earnhardt drifted back, or are the front 4 moving away from them?
Well, I think they're trying to figure out the timing. That's what I was saying about having a head of steam coming to get the checkered flag. If you can time it right, blow by those guys, you got a chance of winning this thing.
2 in front of him. 2 back from you, no pressure in front of him. 2 back from you, lane higher. 2 back from you, lane higher. 5 in front of him.
14 and 88 spotters.
I think the element of surprise, you know, that where did they come from? And I think that's what the spotters are really going to have to be watching here and telling their drivers.
Lap car, Jamie McMurray, 7 cylinders for McMurray, continuing to log laps. Eight laps to go.
Plus, one thing we haven't seen, very little blocking. But at the end of this race, to win the Daytona 500, you're probably going to see some blocking.
You better believe it.
8 cars packed together once again.
These guys right now are trying to set everything up. They're thinking about where do I want to go and what do I want to do. And
we listen to Denny Hamlin.
Get the 18, just push, don't pass. Yeah, I'm screaming at them to stay in line.
Hamlin lost touch with Newman there for a bit, and look how quickly the outside column moved when that happened. Boyer and Busch to the front.
And look at Smith in the 78, Kurt Busch in the 22. A lap ago, they had almost lost touch with that top 8. They're on the high side.
That's because they were making the exchange, which put Smith in front of Busch, the 78-22. And now Stewart and Earnhardt have fallen back to 7th and 8th.
I think it's going to really come down to, are these things going to start blowing water out of them? Because they're going to get hot if you don't make the exchange.
Now it's a 10-car jam session, Matt.
Mike, Kurt Busch, he back-timed how many laps were left 3 laps ago. He told his spotter, Chris Osborne, we've got to make the exchange now. And then you saw them fade to the back, now working their way back to the front.
Oh, Stewart and Busch made a little contact there as Stewart and Earnhardt had a head of steam and almost ran out of racetrack.
And that cost him a little bit of ground because he had to jump out of the throttle, Tony Stewart did.
It really hurt.
Here comes everybody.
But how about these 2 new players there? Bobby Labonte in the 47, Robbie Gordon in the 7. They're in the middle of this pack.
This is anybody's race right at this point.
And now there are 12. 6 pairs of cars, one of whom in 5.5 laps is going to win the Daytona 500.
Here comes Trevor Bayne. He and David Reagan are hooked up coming around the bottom. I like the bottom.
And Darrell, I don't see how they can do any more swapping. You better stay where you're at till you get to turn 4 coming to the checker.
Yep.
Catching that group, David Reagan and Trevor Bayne just laid down the fastest lap of this Daytona 500. 44.66 seconds.
Yeah, the sun's gone down a little bit. It's cooled off a little bit. This is absolutely max speed now, and nobody's holding back now.
And here they come again. Bayne in the 21, Reagan in the 6.
Look at the run, that 11 and that 39. Hamlin and Newman are getting on the high side, and that's where Reagan in the 6 and Bayne in the 21 goes to the high side.
Trevor Bayne has such a good sense about where the guy in front of him is going to go. What a great pusher he is. 3 wide right here at the line. Can they make it?
4 laps to go.
33 of Boyer, the 18 of Kyle Busch, they're blocked. They can't go anywhere right now because they're 3 wide in front of them.
6 times a driver has scored his first sprint. Oh! Smith gets turned in front of Boyer and Newman and Hamlin.
Keep coming. Caution's out now. Wave them off.
That's because Smith got a little bit of a gap between he and Busch, and Busch slammed into him.
You could see that starting to happen.
Yeah, that's when they went in turn 1. I said, can they make it?
And Ryan Newman's attempt to win his second Daytona 500 may be thwarted right here. Regan Smith's car looks remarkably intact.
The right side's really in bad shape.
And here it is from the blimp. Watch the bottom of your screen, 78-22.
Watch this gap that the 78 gets off the corner here now. Now, Kurt Busch says he's getting a push from Tony. He slams into, he didn't get hooked up smooth. He slammed into the back of the 78, and that just turned him into the outside wall.
Dave Blaney scoots through.
Hamlin was on the brakes, locking up. He's going to have to come to pit road because he's got flat spotted tires. But that was just from getting a little bit of a gap. And then Tony Stewart got behind Kurt Busch and just pushed him up, and he slammed into the back of Regan Smith in the 78 and turned him in the outside wall.
Left front damage on Hamlin. The nose gone on Boyer's car. Left front damage to Newman. Right side damage to Smith. There you see it.
It was almost guaranteed, Larry. I didn't see how they could keep pushing it like that, the way they were. 3 wide this late in the day.
That's the 2 cars that's led to most laps in this Daytona 500, Ryan Newman and Clint Boyer.
And Regan Smith, what a wonderful day he had up to
Wonderful week.
Great. Do you see right there, that was just too hard to hit. Even though it's on the straightaway, these cars are harder to control down the straightaway than they are in the corner with the banking.
Newman and Boyer have made pit stops, and they are able to continue. Now Hamlin has a flat tire. He will pit this time.
Yeah, he flat spotted his tires trying to miss this deal going down the back. Bam.
Regan Smith turned in front of Boyer and Newman. Nowhere to go.
Kyle Busch got some damage as well, left front fender.
Let's ride through this with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
One in front of him, half. He's to him. Hey, come on low.
Great job, man. Great.
And there's what happened to Denny Hamlin's left front. And the pace car picks up the Roush Fenway Ford of David Reagan and the Wood Brothers Ford of Trevor Bayne.
My gosh.
And then right behind them, the Busch boys, Kyle and Kurt Busch, running 3rd and 4th right now.
Then Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Labonte, Robbie Gordon, Mark Martin, and David Gilliland are your top 10.
Can Trevor Bayne win this race, Larry? Mike?
I wouldn't rule him out.
He's been awfully good down here this week. Look at that thing, not a scratch on it.
He was drafting in practice yesterday with Joey Logano, car number 20, and we were joking their combined ages didn't add up to their combined car numbers. It is only his 2nd Sprint Cup Series start, and he might be in it to win it. Matt?
Mike, a few moments ago, Kurt Busch clicked over to his brother Kyle Busch's channel. He said, hey, 18, it's 22. Do you guys want to try to work together? And Kyle said, oh, ain't that a shame? He says, absolutely. Heck yeah, we'll work together. He says, all right, when it's all over, I'll buy you some ice cream. Krista?
Talk about what a shame, Matt. Dale Jr. just came on the radio and said, it feels like it's going down, referring to his left rear tire. Steve Letarte, his crew chief, throws his hand down up on top of the pit box. You can sense the disappointment. You can actually feel it. You're wearing it like a blanket on your shoulders in this pit box because they were smelling and tasting victory. Dale Jr. has said he carries the weight of letting his team down last year on his shoulders. He said he didn't want to do it to Steve Letarte and this group. They're coming in to see if indeed it was going flat. Dale Jr. said it was the left rear. The team is looking at it, they're pointing, and yes, indeed, it was flat.
Thanks, Krista. You'll have a shot at it. We're going to complete 200 laps this time around. That is the scheduled distance. The NASCAR rules provide for up to 3 attempts at a green, white checker finish. 2 overtime laps, if you will, to try to finish the Daytona 500 under green.
Let him, you know what he can go away from here with? I was competitive. I had a chance to win the Daytona 500.
I wouldn't rule him out just yet.
Chris?
Well, it's Reagan, Trevor Bayne, a pair of Fords, the Busch brothers, Jeff Hammond. What do you expect?
Right now, I think we're going to see David Reagan try to continue to work with Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne, I think, is a guy who can push somebody to victory lane. But the important part right now is whether or not Tony Stewart, how he gets partnered up, he could be the guy that could upset this whole apple cart right quick.
As good as Bayne has been, the 20-year-old, the restarts have given him a bit of a problem. Mike, he's so young, he said he shaves now once a week. His favorite show, Rugrats. Can he celebrate the Daytona 500? We'll find out.
We'll find out soon. David Reagan is leading the race. Jack Roush, his car owner, has only won the 500 once, and that was with Matt Kenseth. The Wood brothers, for Trevor Bayne, have won it 4 times. Tiny London 63, Cale Yarborough, A.J. Foyt, and David Pearson in that great last lap crashing sliding finish with Richard Petty. Trevor Bayne.
You got me, Trevor. The switchback, yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, the biggest key here is going to be getting hooked up as, you know, whenever you can. I mean, because, I mean, they're going to have a run. You know, you only got to get back around. Just as quick as y'all can hook up, the better you're going to be.
Now, we've been talking over there. I think we got her figured out. You know, if nothing else is really cool, and we'll get as many spots as we can if something bad happens. But either way here, man, this is awesome. Thank you, guys.
Trevor Bayne does not have a deal to run the full season. He's going to run the part season for the Wood brothers. In fact, he checked off on his license application that he wants his points to go in the undercard, the AAA series that runs here on Saturday, because he doesn't have a full season ride to run for Rookie of the Year in the Cup Series. Well, today could change everything. Now we're going to go green-white checker. What does Kyle Busch think about that?
I told you all through Speedway. I said it don't matter how long you can push, because it's gonna be a green, white checker. There it is.
He's not the first one.
It's still done getting crazy.
I'm not sure it's done getting crazy.
No.
And that car is a mess.
And that's not the first guy that I heard say that either, that it was going to be a green-white checker.
Well, we're about to find out if is blood thicker than water, because Kurt and Kyle Busch will have a chance to team up when we get this restart. Remember, we go double file for the restart, and we'll have up to 3 attempts at this green flag, then the white flag, then the checkered flag. But if they take the white flag under green, the next flag they'll see ends the race.
Yeah, we already saw it's going to get wild. You know, I mean, we're not talking about some short track somewhere. We're talking about the Daytona 500. And you got 2 kids up here right now. I would pick either one of them. One of those kids might just win this race.
And to be quite honest, this has fallen right into the norm, because we always have surprises during the Daytona 500. Earlier in the week, they were talking about, will David Reagan even be able to stay with Roush Fenway Pass this year? And until DW talked to Trevor Bayne on the pace laps, they didn't even know who Trevor Bayne even was.
David Reagan has never won a Sprint Cup race. Trevor Bayne has only raced in 1 Sprint Cup race. And now they're in position, maybe, to win this Daytona 500. We listened in on David Reagan.
If you see me jump the first inch, you see me, give me a split second, then you go, and I'll have the momentum and we'll be fine.